Keeping it real, in my experience, has always been more seductive than trying to be a player or trying to bend over backwards or frontwards for anybody. And I think that's going to be the best route to go for anybody, is to just keep it real. But at the end of the day, we also have to recognize whether or not the kind of sexual energy that we're not only exuding, but also receiving is going to be elevating, or is it going to be depleting? Now, a lot of the depleted coomers out there that are beating themselves off every night or every morning or whatever the case is, they don't even understand what it feels like to actually feel a sense of spiritual wholeness, because your sexuality is going to ultimately help you develop closer to your spirituality and elevate you, or it's going to deplete you. Okay, and that's just the simple facts of the matter. And so what I see a lot of the men and women out here trying to do is they're trying to get a high off of the energy that they're exuding sexually. And I don't think that it's necessarily conducive to a high probability of spiritual wholeness and success in relationships, because if you're always looking for that high, you're never going to get fully fulfilled. And there's just no shame in our society anymore, and I think that's a big thing. And I'm not here to judge anybody. I talked about this in a video that I did yesterday. I'm not here to judge, and I'm not here to try to make people believe certain things, or I'm not here to try to force people to believe certain things, but I'm also not here to just watch degeneracy unfold for no reason. And that's what I'm going to be aiming to do in this video, is to point out why things are the way that they are and how we got to this point. And it's because people don't know how to keep it real with themselves. And it's because people don't know how to really be able to look in the mirror. They're always busy pointing this way and that way and here and there. They don't know what it's like to actually look in the mirror and say, wow, okay, I'm kind of spiritually filthy in these areas, and I would like to be able to change that. Because number one, in order to see that you're doing something wrong, in order to have shame, you need to recognize and feel your own emotions. You need to be able to feel what is actually going on inside of you. And believe it or not, when you're capable of feeling shame, that means that you can elevate in your spirituality. That means you can elevate in your spiritual wholeness. A lot of people may not think that that's the case, but it is absolutely the case, because the proclivity that you have to have humility and open domains of apprehension that involve humility are more likely to open a cascade of information that is going to be useful for your fulfilling wholeness and spirituality, so that you can be an overflowing vessel of wisdom and love and hope for people, even when it seems like there is none. And that's ultimately what people are not getting out of their sexuality right now. It's a sad state to watch. The amount of people that are just, specifically the men, they're only trying to get something. They don't know how to give something a lot of the times. So the men don't know that it's actually the women that are trying to get something from the men. It's not the men that are supposed to be getting something from women, because the men are supposed to provide and protect. That's the man's position. The women are supposed to nurture and multiply what the man provides. If a woman is able to multiply what you give her, that's a sign of a good woman. And if she's just depleting you, she's just taking what you have, even though it might feel good for the moment, you get that high. Like, anytime there's a woman that I now talk to and I feel excessively elevated, to the point in which I'm like, okay, this isn't an elevation. This is actually just a high. This is just a false illusion. She's probably, usually when this happens, it's the woman that is trying to make herself into something that she believes I want her to be, and she's everything that I could ever want, and et cetera, et cetera. And that is going to be a disruption to my discernment faculties and my cognitive faculties. Anytime a woman tries to do that, I immediately know, okay, this woman is probably not who she says she is, even though she's attractive, even though she's got this kind of appeal about her. It's highly, highly likely that she's just putting on a front. Now, with women that are more genuine, that do elevate your spirit, but in a different way, you don't get that like super lustful high feeling, but what you do get is a grounded, stabilizing, factoring association with reality. That is the feeling of nurturing and feminine care. I think that's a good way to think about the differentiations. And it's vital for you to be able to establish, okay, with this kind of a woman, I'm feeling this kind of energy. And usually you can tell this kind of woman based off of how she dresses. And that is because this is the way that I think about it, is the way that a woman presents herself, and a man really as well. The way that a man and a woman presents themselves externally is often a reflection of how they feel about themselves on the inside. And so a man, now this obviously doesn't happen every single time, but generally speaking, this is the case. This is one of the reasons why for men wearing like suits or something like that, or men wearing tuxedos or these different kinds of brands or whatever, women are attracted to that because it signifies some kind of form of status or inner confidence on the inside. And a woman actually once told me that a suit for a man is like a bikini for a woman, perceptually speaking. When a man is wearing a suit, it's as if a woman is wearing a bikini, but for vice versa in regard to the perception of the male and the female idea of who that person is. Obviously, a bikini on a woman for a man usually is symbolizing some kind of form of sex appeal, where the suit for a man is obviously symbolizing some kind of form of sex appeal, but it's in a very different way of how the genders view sex appeal in that way. But it's not to say that that's the only way. I'm just saying that that's just what a woman told me one time. And so I think that that's true. I think that that's true. I don't necessarily see how it would be false. But what we have to recognize is that we cannot and should not repress our sexuality. And we have to discipline it. There's a difference. There's a difference between understanding that you have desires that can be tamed, that it's not necessarily that you need to tame them, because that's a concept, that's an ideology. I want to be able to help you free yourself from the mold of what society's telling you, because obviously this liberation stuff, it's not working. It's just not working. The innocence of people is completely gone. There's a reason why Jesus says you're to be childlike to get into heaven, and like a child to get into heaven. And it's because it's not just that a child is innocent, it's also this form of wonder, it's this form of curiosity, it's this form of just pure love for what's at hand. you're always present with the moment that's at hand. And so many people are so focused on the imagination aspect of trying to fantasize what I'm going to do with this person that they get stuck in the fantasy. And I'm not saying that women shouldn't leave room for the imagination, right? Because if a woman's showing literally everything but her nipples and her booty shorts at the gym or something, or out and about, even out and about at the grocery store, I've seen women wearing sports bras, and I'm thinking to myself, what happened to no shirt, no shoes, no service? I don't understand. But apparently, you know, that's a thing of the past. I don't know. And it's not like, how do I say this? There's a time and a place for this kind of behavior, and it's definitely not at the grocery store. And this is another thing people have begun to do, is they're wearing pajamas, they're wearing all of these just bizarre and lack of self-respect forms of clothing. And I'm not saying you need to be dressing to the nines every single day, but golly, have some respect for yourself. I mean, if you're getting if you're going out to the grocery store and you're getting food and such, and you're wearing slippers and pajamas, and you've got your pants down or whatever, like, if a lot of men will do that too. They'll be wearing the chains, and they'll be wearing the super huge baggy clothes with their pants down. And then you've got the women that are wearing these super tight dresses that barely cover their butts and barely cover their breasts. And it's just as if there's some weird spirit that's taken over in a way where I don't know exactly what it's going to take for people to see what's actually happening now. Because those people that are acting like that, they're depleted. They're just simply depleted. And there's nothing that we can really do until they recognize what it is that is going on inside of them. We can be examples, but I don't think that there's much else we can do as human beings. This is where Jesus comes into play. Jesus is only going to be the one to save those people. And a lot of the women out here, I know more so than most men, it seems like, because it's almost as if women themselves cannot be saved from Jesus because they just do not want to invite him in, because they do not want to even have the possibility of seeing themselves, hold themselves accountable with the Most High God, because it's just too frightening of an experience. And I see more men willing to take on accountability and responsibility. And fortunately, I don't know what exactly it is recently, but there's been a lot more women reaching out to me, which is great. I think that that's fantastic, that there's more women that are waking up to what's going on and realizing the pitfalls of feminism and how it's basically been a psyop to completely destroy the family unit and disregard the children. It's all about you. It's all about what you want. It's all about how you feel. Screw the children, screw the family, right? Because that's pretty much where feminism is at nowadays. That's the kind of mentality that's proliferating through society, and it's sad to see. It's really sad. And I just see more men, though, willing to take accountability and responsibility for what's going on, even if they don't necessarily want to do much about it. They're still saying, yep, this is my fault, and there's not much I can do. And at least they're taking accountability, and at least they're being honest with themselves. But I mean, still, that's not really the route that I would advocate people to go down. You need to take accountability and to take accountability and to see what's going wrong, but then not to do anything about it, I think that's a mistake. I think that's a mistake. But at least the men that are waking up are seeing more so they're like, okay, this is something that's happening. Well, praise God for that. And a lot of the women, though, they see what's happening, but they don't want to take accountability. They do not want to take accountability. They would rather try to drag down other single women with them, or women in relationships. I've seen this before where obviously everybody knows the stereotype of when a woman that is in a singles group gets into a relationship, it's almost as if the single women in that group of her friends try to sabotage her relationship. They'll try to sleep with the man just to get her out of the relationship. Because why? Misery loves company. Everybody knows that. So this is just something to think about. And this is one of the reasons why I encourage everybody to just keep it real with themselves and with other people. Be direct. Don't be afraid to say what it is that you want. If all you want is a hookup, just say that. However, I'm not going to advocate for you to say that, and I'm not going to advocate for hookups. All I'm saying is you just got to be honest with who you are and what you want out of life. Now, me, myself, I want a family. I want to be able to have a family that praises God. I envision myself with a family down the line where we are living in our homestead. I know this could just be a pipe dream. I've accepted that. But this is what I want. This is what I would desire. If I could have what I really wanted in life with a relationship with a woman and kids, this is what it would look like. It would be, we're in a homestead, we're growing our own food, we're making our own clothes, we're growing chickens or cattle or rabbits or whatever it is, and we're reading the Bible every night as a family. And we're just working for the land, and the land is working for us. Is that too much to ask? And nowadays, kind of seems like it. And I've accepted that this is just a potential pipe dream, but that does not mean that I'm going to give up in attempting to make that dream a reality. Because if it won't happen to me, and it won't happen for me, then hopefully these videos, the work that I'm doing here, is going to inspire somebody out there that has the potential and the resources and the capacity to light that spark within them so that they can do that if they want to be doing that kind of a thing. So that's why I'm doing these videos. That's why I'm talking about this kind of stuff. I think this is one of the reasons why God's put me in this position to talk about these kinds of things. So I hope that this message was useful and insightful for you. If you do want to join the Regal Change Academy, we have the free Discord group as well as the paid community for the Regal Change Academy. In the free Discord group, we have a few different resources available for you for like fitness, meditation, etc., as well as the godly community itself. In the paid community, this is where things are getting real. we're moving at a very exponential pace, and I'm really excited to see where things are going with this group, specifically with the paid community. We've got a great group of people because everybody knows that your network is your net worth in that group. And so everybody values one another in a much more different way, I would say. And we're doing a bunch of different kinds of classes right now. We have the Art of War class series. We have meditation workshops, the Godlike Savage workshops for like fitness and an overall spiritual, mental, physical health. And then we have the entrepreneurship workshops as well that are available. We are doing a virtual meditation retreat in about a month or so. I'm going to be putting out a formal announcement either later today or tomorrow with that. And I also want to appreciate everybody that has been moving from the YouTube platform over to X, Rumble, and Instagram. I appreciate your guys' extra support. And with all that being said, peace be with you all. Until next time.